Hello, everyone. Welcome to this evening's West Yorkshire derby preview between Huddersfield Town and Bradford City. In the Claret and Amber corner, we have our very own Gareth Walker. How are you doing, sir? You okay, mate?
Yeah, not too bad. How are you, mate?
Yeah, all good. All good, guys. And in the blue corner, we have our very own Terrier himself, Steven Downes. How are you doing, sir? You okay?
No, all right. Unfortunately, the boxing ring didn't happen, so sorry for the viewers for that. But at least we're here doing the preview. So yeah, I'm all good.
And as our very own Steve Brown says, let's get ready to rumble. So thanks everyone for joining us for this evening's 45-minute preview between Bradford City and Huddersfield Town at the Acu Stadium. So do get your comments in. It'd be a pleasure to have your comments come in throughout the course of the evening. We will share what we possibly can, and we'll get some of your predictions in as well through the course of the evening. So do share the link with your family and friends and everybody who's interested in this weekend's derby. And don't forget to follow us on W Yorks Football on X and obviously across YouTube and Facebook as well. Right, gents, are we going to play nicely tonight? I know we're all friends around here, aren't we? We're not like the others, but I'm guessing we're all going to play very nicely with each other, yeah?
Me and Downs, we always get on, don't we? We don't fall
Yeah. There's no mudslinging here. There's no mudslinging, but yeah, as long as we beat
like
on Saturday, then it's fine.
He's like a little brother that I never had. He's like, yeah.
Mate, I'm just saying that this start is not what supporters want. They want us going at
I was just going to say, man. Yeah, blood and guts and everything.
Let's just pretend for 45 minutes that we hate each other and then possibly both hate Lou at the same time.
I only hate Nicolas in football. There's nobody else I hate.
Fantastic. Right, chaps. So, to be fair, it's been quite a busy few weeks at both clubs. Let's start with the home side at the moment, but we'll flip flop between a pair of you as well. So, Steve, we know it's been listen, it's never a dull moment at Huddersfield, is it? Obviously, we've seen recently Lee Grant leave the building. In comes Liam Manning. He's just released his first interview with the club only yesterday on their social media channel. We've seen the quotes come up as well, which we might share in a little bit later on just to get some of them thoughts. But first of all, it's a bit of a baptism of fire for a minute, going from pretty much being unemployed into what is going to be a really white-hot atmosphere at the Acu on Sunday.
Yeah, I joked the other night with Chris. People will be getting bored of me on stream this week, so I'll try and be a bit quieter next week, guys. No, I think listen, it's been a mad week. It's been an interesting week going into what is, probably, if not the biggest game of the season, one of. We were embarrassed at Valley Parade earlier in the season. I was there. I was there for 70 minutes before I walked out in absolute disgust. And I normally stay to the end, but I was that angry I had to leave. And normally I'm a very sort of chill fellow, to be honest. Normally I just say I hate football and that's it, but not on that day. Listen, Liam Manning's been thrown into the fire. And he's got to get something cooking pretty quick. He's been on the training ground. He's not done his first press conference until tomorrow. We're recording this obviously live now on Thursday. His press conference is tomorrow on Friday. So basically, it seems like the most important thing has been done first, and that is being with the players on the training pitch and getting them ready for this game. He's it's an interesting appointment, which I'm sure we'll touch on. But what a first game to jump into! I mean, I personally am seeing it as a no-lose situation for Liam Manning, because if he wins, he's already a hero, and if he loses, it's kind of all right. It's not great, but let's be honest, he's only had a week in the building, so it's a no-lose situation for him, in my opinion. But obviously, we do want to win the game. We do want to beat City. We want to give him a bit of payback for earlier in the season and try and catch them up in the table.
So, like you say, you've been on the channel quite a fair bit this week. So, if you want to catch up any of, like I say, he's been pretty much a resident throughout the channel this week, Steve. So, if you want to get reaction to Lee Grant leaving, to possible rumours of whoever's coming in, to Liam Manning coming in, you want to check out our social media channels to get all the reaction on that. But just to kind of sum up briefly, because like I say, I know we're going to try and do a 45-minute preview between us all. You say it's no lose situation for Liam Manning. Do you think it will be that come full time if there's a possibility that Town do get beat quite heavily? Do you think it's one of those that actually may just replace like for like, or is it one of those situations that, like you say, it might be a bit of a free pass for him?
I don't think, it wouldn't be good for us to get battered, but I can't see that. I'm hoping that that's not going to be the case. I'd like to think that the players will show a bit of pride for the hurt that was, like I say, inflicted on them earlier in the season, but also to prove that they want to be in the team under a new manager. And obviously, players have come back from injury, so the squad's looking a lot healthier now. So there'll be plenty of competition. So I'm sure players will be wanting to show what they can do. But for Liam Manning himself, I mean, like I said, if he goes and wins the game, he's an absolute hero. I think the bad thing is if we got battered, but hopefully that's not the case. I'm not taking this game lightly at all, though, because Bradford City have been absolutely exceptional this season. My one sort of shining light as I'm trying to be positive to go into the fixture really is that they've not quite been as good away from home as what they have at Valley Parade, and hopefully that means that on Saturday they'll have a bit of an off day.
Coming over to you, Gaz, your reaction when you found out Lee Grant lost his job and a new manager comes in. You, from a timing perspective, said, "Oh, that's typical City. What's going to happen now on Saturday?"
Yeah, I think I put into group chat, couldn't you? Kept him for one more game, one more week. It just changes the complexity. What's the word? Changes how I view the game completely, I suppose. I think that prior to him losing his job, I was quite optimistic, just from what Downesy was saying. Really, I mean, they haven't been great. Fact that fans wanted him out. Now it's just totally different. You're going to have a bigger crowd there, more optimism. Players have got something to prove to a new manager. So, yeah, it makes it a lot tougher from a Bradford City point of view. I'd much rather you kept him for another week, but that hasn't happened, and we've got to deal with that now. It's like question is whether you're going to get a new manager bounce or not. It seems to me when I with City that we never get one and everybody else does. So it'd be interesting to see if Town get one on Saturday.
Well, you've not needed one, have you, guys? Because you're flying with Alexander.
Well, we haven't needed one this for a while, although it's unlike Bradford because we normally changing manager quite regularly. I think Alexander's been in job for, two and a bit years now, and he's been absolutely fantastic, whereas previously we were changing manager nearly every 6 months. But, yeah, it's been really good. The progression that we've gone on over the last 18 months, everybody knows about. That's why I keep saying on the podcast that when we hit a sticky run, because I'm sure we will at some point, we've got to remember where we've been or where we were 18 20 months ago, because the way that we've come along has been absolutely fantastic, and to be third in League One at the moment is obviously beyond what anybody expected at the start of the season. Obviously expectations have changed as the season's gone on, because now you're going to be disappointed if you don't manage to stay up there. We are in a run of fixtures at the moment. I was looking before, I think in our last, we've gone a bit we've been a bit hit and miss lately. I think in our last 10 games we've won 6 and lost 4. So we're probably due a draw, really. We haven't had a draw for ages. But, I run at the moment. We had Cardiff on Saturday, which we were a bit unlucky in, really, to lose that game. I think overall we were outplayed for about 10 or 15 minutes. But other than that, it was a very even game that we arguably edged. But obviously Town on Saturday, and then we've got Lincoln away on Tuesday night. So we're in a run of sort of high-profile tough fixtures at the moment, and we've got to see where we are when we come out the other side of that.
And speaking of Lincoln, our very own Chris Bell has already been in touch. He can't keep off the keyboard. As long as Lincoln win tonight, he wants a draw. So don't forget, get your predictions in. We'll read some of them out later on in the show. But
he's got to get Lincoln into every bloody stream, hasn't he? Just, it's West Yorkshire Football Show, not the Lincoln Sausage Show.
The problem is we do kind of owe him, because I've asked him to be my researcher while I've been working today. So he's done us a favour, to be fair. And we joke aside, Gaz.
I haven't realised.
Go on, Gaz.
Sorry, go on, Luke.
No, I was just going to say, we're joking aside, as the elder statesman in the group, even you're not old enough to remember the last time apparently Bradford City did the double against Huddersfield, which apparently were in the 1920s. And apparently, according to Mr. Bell, don't shoot the messenger. If I'm wrong, blame Chris. That apparently the games were potentially within a week or two of each other. What would it mean, first of all, to you guys reflecting on this real kind of odd situation going into a derby against a team with a new manager? And I'll come to you after, Steve. It's really kind of going into the unexpected, isn't it, really, with this one? But a derby double would be lovely across the season.
Yeah, we just don't know what to expect at all. I mean, obviously, you can have a look at how Liam Manning normally sets his teams up. You would imagine the fact that he's had a week at Town means that he's going to have had some input into, or a decent amount of input into. It's going to be his team, isn't it, after a week? It's not like he's coming on the other Friday. But he's still got, like I say, the reaction of the players. You'd imagine them to be more with a point to prove to the new manager. They're not going to be. Yeah, they are. That's it, isn't it? They've got a point to prove. And we've got to remember, Town is a hugely expensively assembled squad. They've got players there with very, very good League One and possibly higher pedigree, which City haven't got at the moment. City are sort of learning on the job, producing performances that at a level that they haven't played at for a long time. I mean, when I was a kid, we used to play Town all the time. They were our local rivals. They were the team that we played every season. But even then, I was saying to you lads in the group chat before, I know you mentioned 1922 there, but even when we had the better side, like in the late 90s, and maybe when we were in divisions of a division above them, or whether we were above them in the same division and we were arguably the better side, Town always seemed to get the better of us. I do remember City beating them on the odd occasion, but more often than not, it was Town that came out stronger in the derby. So a win against Town's always good from that point of view, because it doesn't seem to happen very often. The fact that we got one earlier in the season, as Downesy said before, I think the performances of the two teams were so contrasting that day. We thoroughly deserved to win, and hopefully we can put in a similar performance on Saturday. But that remains to be seen. Like I said, with all the change at Town, you are kind of like not sure what to expect from their point of view.
In terms of yourself, Steve, obviously, like Gaz touched on earlier, the game that you mentioned as well this season really didn't go for Town. And obviously you're at a particular age as well where you've had a little bit of a derby rival with Bradford City, but one of the, again, younger statesmen, it's been hard to kind of probably see them on a regular basis between Huddersfield and Bradford. But how do you think that's going to play out on Saturday? We know it's a 12:30 kickoff for obvious reasons as well, which I know some comments were coming through about that, and I know Gaz has his own feelings on a 12:30 kickoff as well. But how do you see that atmosphere for Saturday? New manager bounce potentially. I know that the Cowshed Loyal have planning a TIFO, etc. So there's plans in place to put on a little bit of a show, isn't there? But you've got to do the show off and on the pitch.
Yeah. I listen, in my time supporting Town from 2009 onwards, we haven't really played Bradford City at all. I think we've only had one cup game, and that was in the League Cup, and that was when Naki Wells scored against them just after he'd sort of signed for Town. I think 2013 that was. So, apart from that, and, there wasn't a lot of people there that night. Bradford were, they were all right. They were League Two at the time. They had the likes of Hansen and that sort of team, and obviously they'd gone on that great run in the cup, either that season or the season afterwards. I can't quite remember now, but yeah, listen. I think we all recognise on this channel that the team I really don't like, apart from Nottingham Forest and Peterborough, is Leeds.
Give over. You don't make that obvious.
No. I have more of a rivalry with Leeds. My own personal circumstances is due to my disability. I play for Bradford City Disability Club, which is obviously connected to the main club. And I've travelled all over the country. I've worn a Bradford City shirt. I don't mind admitting that, and won cups and trophies with the disability team. So, and I'm very proud of that. Huddersfield didn't have a proper disability team at the time, and so Bradford was the choice, and thoroughly enjoyed my time when I did that. But obviously, even throughout that time, I was a Town fan, so it made it a bit difficult when we did buy Naki. I'm not going to lie, but yeah, I haven't really got a rivalry with we sit here. I was looking forward to the game earlier in the season. By the 70th minute, I obviously didn't enjoy the game. But I think it's going to be fun. I think, there's a lot of impassioned people. Gaz comes from a different era to me where I understand he's bit of a rivalry with Town and why he probably has a little bit more leaning my way than he does towards Leeds. And that's what makes this interesting, doesn't it? I know, I work with a colleague at work and he absolutely hates Bradford, like with an absolute passion. Like if there's any game that he ever wants Town to win, it's against Bradford City. And so we've had quite a lot of chats this week and, I'm a bit more mad about it. I just want the team to go out there, perform and hopefully get a win that will start Liam Manning's tenure off to a good start. So, listen, for the Town, for the fans that, we all care about derby games, it would be great to get off to a great start for Liam Manning if we got a win on Saturday. 12:30. I think even though it's an early kick-off, the crowd will be up for it. If you don't get up for the derby game, then you can't really get up for anything. Doesn't matter what time it is.
No, I think you're fair as well. Just while we've been chatting, I know our regular contributor Ben HTFC17 has put Chris in his place. So well done, Ben. Apparently, it's 2004 to 2005 is the last time Bradford did the double. So we're all old enough to remember that one. So well done, Ben, on that one. But just kind of go on.
I just want to also mention, and I don't know if you were going to touch on this, Lou, but I think the game on Saturday also has a bit more of a meaning to it from a more friendly point of view, with obviously the remembering Terriers as well.
Yeah.
So I think that's quite an important aspect to Saturday's game. Obviously the main action is going to be on the pitch, but I think that's quite an important aspect to give both supporters the chance to remember what was a great man.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth for later on, so absolutely well said on Stephen. And like I say, you'll have memories as well, Gaz, of Terriers in both his Bradford City days, with obviously that fateful day, but as well as his time at City and at Town as well.
Yeah, to be honest, it's a little bit before my time when he was at City, Lou. He was, I know, obviously, having read about, he was there during the day of the fire, and I believe he smashed a window to get out a part of the ground. Obviously, his daughter was there, Gabby as well. He was a very, very important figure in Bradford's sort of mid-80s, as they called it, Bantam progressivism, as he assistant manager to Trevor Cherry when they won the title that season, obviously before. We all know what happened on the last day of the season, but they had won the league that season. He was an important part of that. He'd been a player prior to that at City in the early 80s, and then he came back as manager in the late 80s as well. So he's had a long association with Bradford, like he has at Huddersfield and like he has at Leeds as well. So it's a shame, obviously, that he's gone, and it'll be nice to remember him on Saturday.
Yeah, absolutely. And it kind of summed up the man himself. I know he attended multiple funerals, didn't he, after the Bradford City fire as well, to show his condolences as well, which sums up the man. So, like you say, it's definitely a mutual friendly rivalry in that respect with Terriers. Sorry, Downsy.
Yeah, he was just a proper legend. I mean, there's not many people that faced what he faced that day, and helped to save people's lives, and then to go on and do what he did at Town by basically saving, helping to save the football club along with Peter Jackson. So for me, there's not many figures in football that need to be, respected for what they did on both sides of the fence. Even if it's just, for a moment in time, it will be an important aspect of Saturday's game for sure.
Absolutely. So don't forget, everyone, you can get your comments in. We're about halfway through the preview already, so get your comments in through our various social media channels. We'll try and read out some of your predictions. So we want to hear from you, Huddersfield Town fans, your Bradford City fans. Maybe you're a complete neutral as well, and you're just looking forward to seeing a really good, entertaining derby between both of the West Yorkshire sides on Saturday. And if you are, I'll just put the QR code there at the top left. If you want to scan that, that'll take you through to our X channel as well. So if you scan that, and that'll take you through so you can leave a comment on there as well. So
man's on it with the buttons. Man's on it.
Clicking all over it. I'm all
professionalism.
Over it. So just as we were talking and covering our faces, if you're watching us live, this is kind of a record between Huddersfield against Bradford City. To be fair, Downesy, starting with you first of all, looks like you've got a little bit of a better record.
Yeah, a little bit. I think Gaz probably is right in his assessment that probably over the history, I mean, that's what the stats bear out, that, you know, we've got the better of Bradford in this sort of fixture. But yeah, I mean, it means absolutely nothing really going into the game, does it? Because, you know, the squads are very different. Obviously, you know, with this week, with what's happened, it's, you know, for City, they can't even set up the same as what really for what they might expect as what we did at Valley Parade, because it'll be totally different. So yeah, I mean, like I said, it's hard for me to comment on the head-to-heads because I've only ever seen that cup game and that was it. And I think that was, you know, we won 2-1 and yeah. So I mean, for Gaz has seen a lot more.
I'm going to say, you've stopped your own conversation here, Downesy. So well done. We'll move on to Gaz. So Gaz, like, Huddersfield have won 21 out of 32 at the moment. Don't, like I say, derby day. It's that old cliche, isn't it, where form goes out the window. It's a proper derby. Anything can happen on a day. But it's probably one from Bradford City perspective, like we mentioned, where it's probably difficult to anticipate what might come up. But despite slightly in different form, and as you discussed earlier, City have had a really good season and they've got nothing to fear going into this game. Whereas if you'd have said this at the beginning of the season, and you'd have argued potentially that City could have been well below Huddersfield Town in the league table, but roles have been reversed.
Yeah, I think that's what everyone expected, didn't they? I mean, we were a newly promoted side, obviously come up from League Two. Town were in the second season in League One, and obviously had high expectations to be in those automatic promotion places. You look at the clubs off the pitch, there's a big contrast, not in necessarily how they're performing, but just on the finances level, with what obviously Nagel's got at Town and what he's been able to supplement the budget with, and the signings that they've been able to make. The expectations at Town are sky high because of that. And obviously, Downesy's mentioned before, it's not just the money that they've spent, but it's the words that that come from the club, and they obviously expect to be up challenging for automatic promotion. Whereas City, that was never the expectation at the start of the season. I think most City fans have been happy with a mid-table finish. Then it obviously came out that we'd had our budget supplemented by our owner to make it playoff competitive. So that raised hopes that we might be able to sort of be in and around or challenging for the playoffs as the season went on. But to be sort of top three at this stage of the season, it is beyond those expectations. And when you talk about how City will set up, I know Graham Alexander has gone on record before as saying he doesn't tend to change how we set up too much based on what the opposition do. He prefers to focus on what we do. So it might not change that much. But it, obviously, in terms of what Town are going to bring to the party and how they're going to approach the game, we don't know it. We don't know at all. So we probably might see some adjustments in the first sort of 5 or 10 minutes of the game based on that. And
it's fair to say as well, Gaz, you know, you've got a couple of recent players in through the door on loan from my team, Newcastle, with, you know, Joe White and Harrison Ashby. There's also rumours potentially of a striker coming in. So he's not standing still, is he, Graham Alexander, which is always encouraging when you're in this situation in a league where you've done well, you've pushed well, but you're actually still striving to be even better.
Yeah, I think it all comes down to the quality that you bring in, Lou. Obviously, I've only seen, I think Sibley's played twice, both as a sub, and then Ashby and White both came on for the debuts as a sub last Saturday. I haven't seen much of any of them so far. Apart from, I will say that Ashby did look very good in the brief cameo that he had on Saturday. I thought he looked really, really putting a good, decent performance. I'm obviously normally quite pessimistic when it comes to City. I don't like to get my hopes up. It's why I didn't sort of get carried away when we beat Town earlier in the season, because I know what goes around comes around. But when you're looking at City, I'm looking at the signings that the people that we're letting go, and I'm a little bit concerned that we've possibly making too much change to what has been a successful squad with a lot of winners in that dressing room, a lot of character in that dressing room. We've let a lot of players go already. There's talk about more going and more coming in. So we are going through a lot of change, and only time will tell as to whether that was the right decision. Obviously, this team's got us promoted and then they got us to third in the division above. So they've got big shoes to fill, these players coming in. There is talk that there's going to be additions up front. We're being linked with the lad from Man United, and obviously there's talk about, well, will we go and spend some money on a bit more of a marquee striker as well. So it remains to be seen where we are come the 1st of February or whenever it is that the window closes. But so far so good, I think.
And I know that we'll be probably doing our usual transfer deadline, I say, special. It's been quiet over recent years, and we're sat waffling for about 4 or 5 hours between us. So who knows what this one brings? Maybe it's a different one between us all, and especially with Graham Alexander maybe looking to bring a couple in, Liam Manning now at Huddersfield maybe looking to get maybe 1 or 2 in before the deadline. So in terms of Huddersfield, Downesy, we spoke about, obviously you spoke about during the week, what Liam Manning's kind of preferred style is, everything that goes with it. There's going to be some players who, let's be honest, maybe looking at what's happened this week and maybe quite pleased that they may get a chance. There might be others that may be looking at that going, I've got to fight for my place even more so now. What do you expect to see from Liam Manning and your Huddersfield Town side on Saturday?
So in terms of Town making more signings, I don't know how much say Liam Manning will have on the transfer window or the rest of it. Town normally don't do anything on transfer deadline day anyway. That's why you never see me on it, because it's boring. Not you guys, just from a Town point of view. I've got literally nothing to say. What am I expecting? Like I said, I think because the squad is getting more fitter in terms of coming back from injuries, you'll have a few more options, and it'll be interesting. Obviously, we've brought Ballymunber in, who made his debut the other day. Didn't look particularly amazing, but you've got to give the kid a chance. I think what's interesting is that he's worked with Kasumu and McGuane before at his previous clubs in MK Dons, where they had Kasumu and McGuane at Bristol City. Now, we've only seen Marcus McGuane for 45 minutes so far. And I'll be really interested to see how he deals with those two players, because I don't know the relationship, how he left those two players. I think that will be interesting. Obviously, at the moment, we've got Bojan and Alfie May that looks like our preferred front two, with Dion coming off the bench. So it'll be interesting to see what he does there. I think, there are a few positions really that you can't change in this side. Lee Nichols and probably Radinho Bolka both need to be in the team from the off. But rest of the positions is probably up for grabs. There was a bit of a suggestion, was he going to change his captain in Ryan Ledson this year? Obviously, as we all know, if you've watched the streams regularly, I haven't been a big fan of Ryan Ledson, but I don't think you can quite change your captain mid-season. I think that will be a mental move or a big move in the dressing room to make in mid-season. So, yeah, I think there are some things that are just going to be, we expect to happen, Lou. And then there might be a couple of surprises. He does play, like I said in previous streams, which I won't go into too much detail, but he does play a very similar style to Lee Grant. Possession based, a bit more high pressing, which I think Alfie May will enjoy. I think what we all want to see is Alfie May further up the field at the top end and not running into his own half, Lou. I think that will be a big start.
It would be big help, wouldn't it? Absolutely.
When you brought your star striker for 1.2 million and he's on edge of his own box, it's not been brilliant.
No. So just to ask you a question, then I'll come on to you again, Gaz, kind of asking in reverse. So I'll ask you what you expect from Huddersfield. What do you expect from Bradford City on Saturday?
Just more of the same and what we've seen so far this season, Lou. I think we'll be high press, high energy. We would actually, like I said, we were really good against Cardiff with that on Saturday. We started really bright in your face, and then I don't know what really happened for 10, 15 minutes. Graham Alexander says that individuals came off the sort of designated roles for a little bit. don't know why they did that, and it took them a while to get going again. But on that 10 or 15 minutes, Cardiff really tore us apart, and I was worried that they'd run away with the game. But we did regain a foothold in it after they'd scored the 2 goals, and we're back on it in the second half, and arguably the better side. So yeah, lots of energy, lots of in-your-face pressing. I think there'll be it'll be 3-4-3, which is what we normally play, or 3-4-2-1. Sarcevic and Point, and just behind probably Stephen Humphries, maybe Will Swan. It depends. You're not quite sure who'll get the nod up there. Neither of them have really nailed it down as their position so far this season. Hence the talk of us still needing a striker. But yeah, the wing backs, obviously Josh Nerfil on the right, probably Tyreek Light on the left. Could be Ibutore. Depends if Ibutore plays left centre half. And then obviously I would imagine it'll be Curtis Tilton and Aidan Baldwin as the other 2 centre halves. So I think you can predict most of the City team depending on injuries. The question mark will be who's going to play up top, because like I said, neither Will Swan or Stephen Humphries have really grasped the shirt 100% yet.
Can I just jump in there, Lou, on a point that Gaz said? Well, I must, yeah. I think an interesting tactic player to play on Saturday. I don't know how Gaz feels about this. He's obviously just talked about up front, but Humphries being up there, because I think he adds a lot of energy, dynamism, and a bit of pace. And one thing that we struggled against this season, particularly with the type of centre backs we have, except for Walker, is pace. When we've seen a striker with a bit of something about him, even somebody like Wareham at Exeter. So I just wonder whether Alexander would go with Humphries just because of that fact. From a tactical point of view, it gives you something else, running in behind and getting hold of the ball and being able to really drive at the town centre-backs.
I think the thing with Humphries is there's still that debate about, particularly amongst the fan base, about him being better off the left, and Alexander's absolutely adamant that he's better down the middle. The thing, Humphries, what he gives you over Swan is a little bit more of a physical presence. I mean, don't get me wrong, he's not a target man by any stretch of the imagination, but he is more of a physical presence than Will Swan. Will Swan is he's a bit of a pressing monster, really, is Will Swan. Just runs and runs and runs. He's very in your face, the centre half, putting defenders under pressure. So if we want to go with that, you would imagine that he'd get the nod. But if you're looking at overall quality as a player and individual ability, then it's Stephen Humphries.
It's pace as well, Gaz, isn't it? I think Humphries is a bit quicker than Swan.
I'm not really sure, Downsy, to be honest. I wouldn't say I've seen either of them sprint too much or have the opportunity to really run with the ball too much this season. Humphries is the better dribbler. I'll definitely give you that. That's why people think he's better off the left, but he can be very much play with your head down. He's a little bit, City fans will say he's a little bit like a schoolboy footballer at times. He needs to get his head up, look for his mates and pass the ball a little bit more because he can be greedy. But he's very good on the ball. His technical ability is good. Some of the finishes that he's made already this season have been very good. Whereas at Swan, he's very much energy.
Just had a quick question here from TKD Adam for you guys. What about Bobby Poynton? Is he playing?
I would imagine he will do. He was injured for about 2 or 3 weeks, having massive gash on his foot. I don't know if anybody saw it, but it was put around on social media. I think that was after the Wigan game. He came off at half-time against Wigan. But like I say, he's missing for 2 or 3 weeks. He came back last Saturday, started the game against Cardiff last Saturday. I'll be honest, I thought he looked a little bit rusty, but hopefully that 90 minutes gets him back up to speed and we can see more of him like we have done earlier in the season, starting this Saturday. I would imagine that he will play now that he's fit. Yeah, 100%.
Right, guys, it's your 10-minute warning. We're putting the QR code back on there if you want to go to our X channel. Let's get your predictions in. We've got plenty of people who are tuned in live. We can see the numbers keep going up and up and up. But we're going to be cutting off around 6:45. So let's get your predictions in. Let us know whether you're a Huddersfield Town fan, Bradford City supporter, or like I say, just a complete neutral who's tuned in either for the first time or you just really like us. Let us know your thoughts on Saturday's game. How do you see the game going? So we'll leave that QR code up there for you to scan and get involved in. Just before we get on to those predictions, which are coming in through thick and fast, so keep them coming in and I'll make sure we can read as many as we can do. I don't want to kind of downplay the derby because derbies are derbies, and as fans, we all absolutely love them, and we can obviously hate them depending on the way it goes. But what can be said for probably both teams at the moment, and I'll start with you, Downsy, is the January fixtures from a Huddersfield Town perspective. It could possibly be a good one to get off the ground with those two fixtures coming up against Luton and Peterborough.
Yeah, absolutely. Then we've got a previous playoff game against Luton, so that's still got a bit of spice with it, and then obviously the long-standing dislike of Peterborough United. So it's interesting. Obviously, they've been doing a bit better, haven't they, under Luke Williams? I think Luton have certainly started to improve under Jack Wilshere. So it's going to be three very, very tough tests. I mean, we had our supposedly easier period over Christmas, and fluffed us lines with it. So one of the things that Lee Grant was horrific at doing was getting any sort of. Well, I think he only got 1 point. Somebody could put me wrong here. I think he only got 1 point against the top 8 in his time in charge of Town. 1 point. I mean, if you want to go up, you have to beat the smaller teams or the teams at the bottom that are not necessarily doing well, but also you need to be competitive against the teams at the top, and that's what he wasn't. So very tough tests, but because we spoke about expectations at Town all season, Liam Manning, if you don't get 9 points, you're sacked. Clip that up. No, I'm joking.
We will. We absolutely.
Oh, I know. No, I'm just. I am joking. No, listen. Anything can happen Saturday, but I think if for us to carry on and try and be competitive within this playoff, trying to get into the playoffs, I do actually think we need to at least get 4 points. I do.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Same to you guys. Just looking at Bradford City's fixtures, which are on the screen now. I mean, again, it's not easy, is it? Obviously, after that derby, then you're facing Lincoln City away on a Tuesday night, and then you're at home to Donny as well, who came up with yourselves from League Two. It feels like it's a bit of a pivotal moment as well for you guys at Bradford City, isn't it? Where you want to keep that momentum going. You're probably doing better than, as we said earlier, better than expected. But now you're in that chase. You want to stay in that chase.
That's it. That's what I was saying earlier, Lou. I mean, nobody expected us to be up where we are in the league. But the fact that we're there now, you want to maintain it and see how far you can go. As me and Chris have said on the podcast before, obviously him being a Lincoln fan, me being a City fan, both teams, people are surprised that either team are up there. But I think especially City, having just come up from League Two, you kind of you just want to maintain it for as long as you can and see how far you can go. It's an opportunity for these teams now. They've got past the halfway stage in the league. You've got that advantage on points over the rest of the division at the moment, and you need to try and make the most of that. Hence, it'll be interesting to see what we do in January and whether we can add a little bit of quality in there where we need it to try and build on and push us on for the remainder of the season. You touched on obviously the fixtures there. Like I said, we had Cardiff. We were possibly slightly unlucky, barring a 15-20 minute spell where they outplayed us. We now got Town, which is obviously a huge game for both clubs given where they are in the league and the derby factor and the fact that Manning's now gone in and it's his first game. And we've got Lincoln, who were obviously second, and I think we can 3 points behind them with a game in hand, so we can go level on points to them if we win our game in hand. But that game is massive. Lincoln are flying at the moment. I think they're the form team in the division. Then we've got Doncaster, who, although they're struggling, Grant McCann definitely seems to have the wool over Graham Alexander these days. The last 2 or 3 seasons, they've been our bogey team. They've really put us to the sword, really, and embarrassed us on a couple of occasions with the way they've played. So even after that, it doesn't get any better. We got Luton. We got Luton away after that, and then Peterborough at home. And obviously, Downsy mentioned how those two teams are doing with regards to Huddersfield, because obviously they've got them over the next 3, but we've got Peterborough and Luton after Donny. So we are in that run at the moment where I think it's probably going to determine whether we'll stick up there or we'll fade away. And maybe by the end of January, by the middle of February, we might know a little bit more. Regarding whether we'll be a playoff team or we can still be in with a shout of automatic promotion. Or worse.
Maybe you need maybe you need Liam Manning to do your scouting for those games coming up, considering Town have got them, especially in the next two. So thanks everybody who's getting your comments in. We are going to wrap up very shortly, and we're going to share some of your comments now in terms of your predictions. So we'll just run through some of these. So Terrier 930, I know is a regular with Downs and the guys on Town Talk. Going for a score draw Saturday. I think it'll be a tight game. He always feels it's a bit flat when it's a 12:30 kickoff. He's going 1-1 May to score for Town, which I know Gaz is agreeing with the 12:30, possibly not the prediction, but 12:30 for sure.
12:30, mate. You know my thoughts.
I don't. Can I just say though? I don't actually. I don't get it, Gaz, with a 12:30. I understand what you're saying, but for me, I love them, particularly when they're at home. In a sense of you can go watch your team lose probably, and then get home for the 3 o'clock kickoffs.
Well, you can, not when you've got an hour and a half's journey like me. You can't.
Well, you should.
And I want to go for a beer before. I'm not allowed to go for a beer after, so I want to go for a beer before. I can't have a beer with a 12:30 kickoff.
You should support your local team then.
Hey, I support you. You're a Huddersfield fan. You live closer to Bradford.
Now you're getting into the spirit, guys. We've got 3 minutes to go. Now you're fighting. What's all this about?
The team closest to where I was born, I'll have you know.
Go on, Gaz. Go on. He's riled up now.
Oh, now he's rolling his sleeves up. Here he goes.
Look at this. I've got him on tenterhooks now.
Really? I love not a fighter, these guys. Love it. TKD Adams got expecting a Huddersfield win. There was also a rumour going around about Scott Twiney. I've seen that going around on social as well.
Yeah, that's fake. That's fake. Like, Scott Twiney's not coming to Huddersfield Town, so that's just not happening.
Clip that one up. That's another one clipped up for Downsy. Brilliant. That's another one for the lads to do in the chat.
Lose behind that rumour, by the way. Just want to put that out
there. Kelly Hall Bryan's got one in 3-1 to City. I mean, Ben's coming in with numerous predictions, but the first one I caught was 2-1 to Bradford, and he's going against his own team. So, I mean, you started off well, Ben, by putting Chris Bell in his place, but to back against your own team, mate. Oh, dear. Another 1-2-1 to Town. Reaction win, but Town have a quality. Yeah, Chris just wants a draw between them all. So Lincoln still.
Chris is boring, though, isn't
he? No, yeah. Rob's got in touch 4-3 for the Town win. So it's mixed. Obviously, we've got some good reactions from everybody. So before we end, chaps, it's over to you. Beginning with, we'll go with the visitors because we started with Downsy. So, Gaz,
you're not going to ask me to make a prediction, are you?
Yeah, we are, Gaz.
I was waiting for you to say that.
For one stream only, Gaz, you have to make a prediction.
Oh,
are you seriously?
No, yeah. You don't have to if you don't want, mate. I know you don't.
Lou, don't back out. Don't back out, Lou.
What I will say is, like I said at the start of the pod, I was more confident before Town made the managerial change because I just think that gives everybody a lift. They're obviously expecting a bigger crowd there. The players have got something to prove. We don't know how Huddersfield are going to approach the game. It was all sort of a case of, from what Downsy had said before, I think it could have got very toxic very quickly at Town on Saturday if City had perhaps scored an early goal with everything that was the way the situation was with Grant. That's all taken away now. I would honestly, given my history, I mean, I've been going since the early 90s, and I think I've not seen City beat Town that often. I'd take a draw at Town on Saturday, I really would. But I think from a City perspective, if we want to stay up there challenging for the top three, we're going to have to either win on Saturday or we're going to have to win at Lincoln on Tuesday. And obviously, Lincoln are flying at the moment. So I would like to say that we're going to be up there. We need to take four from these next two games. Otherwise, it's looking more like we're going to drop into the playoff picture.
I mean, to be fair, Gaz, that's better than I expected from you. So thank you very much, young man. Thank you very much. Gaz, set the stage. Over to you.
Gaz is predicting 10-10 then. No, I think I'm in a way I'm not confident because I do believe that Bradford are playing really well this season. I really want to say that we'll get a win, a 2-1 win, but in my heart, I think we'll win 2-1. In my head, I think we'll lose 2-0. Unfortunately.
Wow.
Downsy's going to the game, aren't you, Downsy? Downsy very, very kindly, because I've dropped down the points system at City. I've always been in the bracket where I have enough points to go to away games, but I don't know what's happened this season. I seem to have dropped out of it, so I'm in the pot with all season ticket holders now when these go on sale. And Downsy very, very kindly, I don't know if it was kindly or what it was really, Downsy, but you offered me to sit with you lads, didn't you, in the home end, and I turned it down, and I'm kind of glad I did, because I would have been taking a seat away from a Town fan who wants to see Liam Manning's first game, so that adds another reason why I'm glad I turned it down.
Aren't we all friends?
No, the real. Let's be honest. The real reason is if Town go 3-0 up, Gaz will be. He's not a puncher. He's not a puncher, but I can imagine Gaz sitting there and swearing quite violently in his own head.
I'll have left, mate. I'll have done what you did at Valley Parade earlier in the season. I'll be long gone. I'll be tailing it back over here on motorway.
Love it. Well, chaps, on that lovely, friendly handshake between us all, we shall love you and leave you all. But thanks to everybody who's tuned in across the course of this evening. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you join us. You can catch up and still share the link with your family and friends as you want to watch a replay of a preview as we go to that game on Saturday afternoon. I'm sure the chaps will be reacting to the game as well in their own usual ways. That's over the course of the weekend with a video, or especially on that Monday night show that we normally do. So let's see how we fare. Some of those might be clipped up. Some of them may be just starting that memory bank ready for Monday to see how both teams get on. But with that, it's been a pleasure to have everyone join us. Thanks for you, Gaz, from Bradford City.
Thanks, Lou.
No worries, guys. And thanks to you, Steven Downes. You can have a day off tomorrow off the stream if you want, mate.
Thank God for that. Over Town.
With that, everyone, have a wonderful evening and the rest of your weekend. Who's going to win, Huddersfield Town or Bradford City? We'll soon find out. Good night.